Hi, welcome back to my studio. I'm Kim Balthazar Fetsko, and today we're going to be working on a painting. It's part 1 of 2 in a palette that I don't normally gravitate to. It's a little bright and colorful. So I hope you enjoy this process video, and I'll see you at the end. My palette today is a group of colors that I don't normally use. We're going to start with warm white, we have titanium white, we have an ivory black, and then we have these fun colors that I just got from Holbein that I wanted to give a try. So it's Quin Opera and a blue gray, and then this is cadmium green, which is always a very strong color no matter how you attempt to use it. But I was feeling kind of springy. It was a really not nice day out when I decided to work on this painting. So this I used to brighten up my mood. Okay, so I already used this piece of Arches oil paper kind of as like a slop board. So when I was working on other paintings, this was the piece of paper that any additional leftover paint ended up going on. I don't like to waste paper, so I usually have a couple of these sheets going on at the same time, and then I just keep building more layers, and then it just adds to the history of the painting. So as you can see, I brayered on, some of the colors initially, and then I'm spreading them out with a squeegee. I like my scribbles, so I'm using this bamboo like writing tool to scratch back in. This is another tool that I love. It's a silicone brush. I have these in a couple different sizes, but I tend to work with this one the most, even on my larger paintings. This blue gray is just so beautiful. It looks like the color of like the perfect summer sky to me. The type of sky I'm talking about, not a cloud in the sky, not a care in the world, that kind of blue. Now we're just mixing in a little bit of black, gray it up a little bit more. That is Gamsol that I'm spritzing onto this painting right now. And what Gamsol will do is it's a solvent. It will disintegrate some of the paint, the upper layers, and allow some of the colors from the lower layers to shine through. Brightening it up with a little bit more of the warm white. And at this point in the painting, I'm slightly starting to think about composition, but not a whole lot. Just still having fun. These are the middle layers. It's always better for me if I use a sheet of wax paper to spread some of my paint out if I'm going to be using the brayer. So then you're not brayering on like a glop of paint. We're just going to layer in a few more colors here. The whole process is about building up and taking away until you get to the final history of your journey, and you get little pieces all throughout shining through. This is feeling kind of landscapey to me at this point. Like marshy. You're by the little creek. You got some lily pads floating around. Again, reminiscent of a beautiful summer day. And this pink. Oh my goodness. I love it. I was never a pink person up until the end of last year. I was missing out. This color is absolutely stunning, especially next to that green. do like to use the palette knife in certain sections of the painting. It's fun to spread the paint onto the paper with the palette knife, but it's also a lot of fun to scrape it back off. And you can get some really interesting lines and shapes. And as you can see, laying down this pink, it gives it like a grungy kind of feel. All right, here I am adding in some oil pastels. Because the paint is so wet, it's not going to work as well as it would if the paint was dry. But you can see some of the colors, you know, the line work still goes on. And I will always seal my paper with another clear layer of cold wax at the very end in case there is pastel towards the top, because as you might know, pastel never really dries right. Like you usually have to seal it in with something. But because mine is an oil and cold wax painting, that is what I use. All right, so here we are going back. You know, that first part was the first session, and now we've let that dry a little bit. We are going back in. It looks like this time around I brought in a few more colors. So we have some green gold in there. We have some olive green. Looks like we might have some permanent green. We also have a transparent orange. We have the pink back again. This is a deep pink by Winsor & Newton. I think it's a deep Quin pink. And that tube is going to last me for probably the next decade. So now this will have had time to set up, so we're not working into the wet paint like we would have been had we not stopped it yesterday. So we're going to use that wax paper kind of as a stencil. Add some edging around it. Just for some interesting shapes. Now, because I use complementary colors underneath, I think my goal here would be to scrape back in and allow those complementary colors to work against each other and really create bright pops of color, a little bit more interest in the painting. And who knows, it may end up being the focal point at the end. We shall have to wait and see. This deep pink is very pretty against that blue. Oh my gosh, I just love that pink. I'll probably repeat that another 5 times by the end of this video, but in case you didn't know, I really like this pink. I like to use a brayer to soften up the edges. It really applies a nice soft layer of the paint. If you press though, however, on like the edge of the brayer, it leaves some pretty defined lines, which is also really cool. Doing a little bit more Gamsol. Lots and lots and lots of blending. Here we're going to scrape this off and allow the Gamsol to do some of its work. this is where we are going to end this video. I'm going to allow this to dry a little bit, and then we will go back and continue working until we get to the end and I feel confident enough that it is a finished painting. So thank you very much for joining me and for watching through the end of this video. Where to learn more or want to learn more, please visit my website, www.kbfetsko.com, and join my mailing list, and you'll get more information on upcoming classes and courses. You can also find me over on Instagram at k.b.fetsko, and yeah, you'll see a lot more in progress shots over there. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for joining me.